This segment of the KNC Masterpiece is brought to you by Frankel & Frankel. If you've been injured in a car or truck wreck, call Frankel first. 214-817-333-3333. With Frankel & Frankel, there's never an out-of-pocket cost. They only get paid when you win. Frankel & Frankel, the go-to car and truck wreck attorneys in Dallas.
Watch out. Standing in. Let one rip going deep. Shakir hangs on. Down to the one. There's another highlight.
KNC Masterpiece right here on 105.3 The Fan. We're live at Buffalo Wild Wings in Bedford. We're going to do Gridiron in just 1 second, but I have a procedural question because our waitresses have been great, but we're on air most of the time. Do you think if I just make an order over the air that they would put it in the kitchen and bring it over?
Yeah, go ahead and throw your order out and see what happens.
That they're very
busy.
Yes.
There's a lot of people that are here.
If you feel like cooking up an extra 10-piece boneless mild, please, that would be outstanding. But right now, let's go around the entire NFL and dip into some gridiron gravy. Gridiron gravy, of course, brought to you by Rhino Shield. Why paint your house when you can shield your home? Visit rhinoshieldtx.com. Do you guys think of Sean McDermott as an elite coach? Because if he wins this weekend, I know obviously huge game for the Bills, but if he wins this weekend, he would be the fifth coach ever with 5 straight 11-win seasons. The other coaches, Bill Belichick, Tony Dungy, Andy Reid, and Tom Landry.
Could have been Mike McCarthy.
Yeah, could have. Yeah, could have been, but we fell short. Oh, thank you very much. But it's that he made it to the AFC Championship game in 2020, obviously, and then they've lost in the divisional round 3 straight times. Is that what keeps people from viewing Sean McDermott or Josh Allen or whoever the hell you want to throw in that group from being elite? Because they're like, you're elite in the regular season, but there's the elite of the elite who's there to squash your playoff dreams.
Yeah, I mean, Mike McCarthy's been a very good coach over his career, and he has a Super Bowl, but there's no way we consider him an elite coach.
True.
So McDermott, what he's done, he's one of the great coaches, one of the really great coaches that has been to a high level, but's never gone over that certain place, and he needs to get that. He definitely does. I think he's a really good coach, man. I think the idea, the vision for what he wants his team to look like, the fact that they were able to get Josh Allen and be able to do what they've done with him, I think he's a very good coach, but no way do I consider him elite.
I wonder if there is now you have to go to Super Bowl era. I even wonder if there's a coach in the Hall of Fame who, Marv Levy, I guess, just came to mind as I was saying. Is he the only one in the history of football that coached in the Super Bowl era that actually made the Hall of Fame as a coach that didn't win a Super Bowl? I bet he's the only one.
Is Marty Schottenheimer in the Super Bowl? In the Hall of Fame?
I don't know.
I'll have to look.
But I mean,
because that's who I think of.
Yeah, I just think that to be considered like a Hall of Fame great coach, and then you have to accomplish something that nobody else accomplished, and that was go to a Super Bowl 4 years in a row.
Yep.
Now, he didn't win any of them.
True.
But to go to a Super Bowl 4 years in a row.
Okay, so it is interesting, like coaches and quarterbacks, it's kind of the winning or Super Bowl metric.
Yeah. He's not in the Hall of Fame.
Okay, well, there you go then.
He has a UFL championship, though.
I do not count that the same.
Mm-hmm. He was an NFL Coach of the Year in 2004.
Yeah.
He's in the Chiefs Hall of Fame.
Okay.
So in your face.
Do you think – never mind. This is a question for another day. Do you ever think you'll get to a point with Hall of Fames where you're like, we got too many people out in there, and we'll just start bumping some people out? They're like, hey, we got to make room for Andy Reid, not just the Chiefs Hall of Fame, just Hall of Fames in general.
Are you considering that they have only a certain allotment of room?
I'm assuming we have some sort of finite space for this Hall of Fame.
I like this conversation. Here's where it's interesting. If you're the Chiefs, you've probably put in a lot of players. I remember going to a Phoenix Suns game, and I'm like, Walter Davis?
Because they're like, we're never going to be good.
Right. And then what if you get great? What if you're the Chiefs? I do feel like Tex Schramm, and early on, but I'll just take it to Tex Schramm, he didn't want to put Drew Pearson in there. He didn't want to put certain players in there that were borderline Hall of Famers because he's like, our organization has been so great.
Yeah.
We've been to 5 Super Bowls. We've won 2. We're in every NFC championship game. We win 10 games every year. If I just start putting in Danny White's, and I'm not trying to put Danny White was a good quarterback.
I got you.
But now all of a sudden you've been I hate, not bad. Bad is too strong of a term. But you've been an average organization for such a long time. Now we start saying, should Zeke go in the Ring of Honor? Like, there used to be a status to the Ring of Honor for the Dallas Cowboys that was like, even if you're a borderline Hall of Famer, the answer is no. Now we're like, well, we've been average for 30 years now. What about Tony Romo? And you're like, wait a second. There was a standard that the Cowboys had. There's a standard that the Yankees have. There's certain standards. But what happens if you had a standard because you were so spectacular for 30-plus years, and then for the next 30 years you're average?
Yeah, that's a good question.
And then what's the opposite is if you're the Chiefs and you've been a little bit of a nothing franchise for such a long time, and now you've won 3 Super Bowls or New England Patriots, and you go, you know those guys we put in the 70s and 80s because we needed to put somebody in? Like, they don't really have the resume that now the guys that are getting in for our organization have.
I'm in on this conversation. Yeah. I don't know if we pick it up at another point. If people have specific folks in their crosshairs, they're like, that guy.
Like, to put this guy in, we take this guy out. Like, it's tough. It was tough for Paul Pierce, for example, to get into the number retire Boston Celtics thing. If he played for the Phoenix Suns, it would have been like 3 days after he retired. And nothing against the Phoenix Suns. They're a solid organization. But you get what I'm saying?
Sure.
There's certain organizations where like, no, our standard is way different than the Arizona Cardinals.
Now, Corey, I'm going to ask you if this is the saddest quote you're going to hear all day.
All right.
This is from Caleb Williams. Quote, "This is my first time being part of something like this, of losing and this streak going. So I asked questions to the guys that might have lost a bunch of games in a row like this or had losing seasons. I asked them questions because the more knowledge that I have prepares me for the future if this ever comes close to something like this again."
Whoa.
That is so sad. He's like, hey, I had lots of people there who I could ask about us not winning just in case it happens again.
Yeah, and you hope it never does happen again, but you can't depict things. He does actually have a lot of the control over that, though.
That's true.
Not necessarily the voice that has the control, but the ability to play themselves out of it. That is sad. That is a very sad quote. But I do wonder for the ones that it always goes well. They never lost. How quickly it like breaks them when they finally do lose. Like the experience of losing and getting over it, moving past it, not dwelling in it too long, and then like going out and succeeding. One of the things I always loved about baseball. You do your thing, and if you're bad that day, you have the next day you can go out there in the pros, obviously, not in high school or college, but you can go back out there pretty quickly and turn it all around. When you're a loser constantly, do you have just a different mindset about it? That is sad.
I just thought that was such a depressing quote. Now, Mike McDaniel's come out and he was asked about the Odell Beckham Jr. release, and he goes, it was best for both parties.
Yeah.
I have to admit, I kind of forgot that Odell Beckham was still doing his thing.
I had no clue.
I saw him get a catch the other day in a game.
Okay.
And I was like, oh.
He's doing stuff.
Who was that? Was my first thought. And then I was like, oh, it's Beckham. That is one of the most explosive offenses out there, and they're like, we're moving on from a guy who's not as explosive enough to keep up with what we do anymore. We've
talked about, whether it's Tyler Guyton or whoever else you want to throw out there, some of the struggles of the Cowboys rookies. Let's throw this out there for the Eagles. Quinyon Mitchell. Mm-hmm. Since week 4, he hasn't allowed more than 3 catches or more than 30 yards on throws into his coverage since week 4. That's amazing.
Yeah,
like 3 for 30. If one of your receivers has that, you're like, whoa. But he hasn't. Like he has not given up anything
any
past
receivers.
that. He's been amazing this year.
Is he the best?
The best cornerback, like overall.
I mean, those stats would
That's
say
incredible. In the last 2 months, I think I would argue he might be.
I'm looking, Kevin.
Who is he taking it from?
Taking what from?
Ramsey? Like who would?
I got what
you understand what I'm saying? Like if he is the best now, if you're like we're changing the ranking to he's the best, who was the best or who is this main competition?
It's kind of crazy because there's like a group of 5 that I think
Surtain
you could. Yeah,
was in the mix
he's probably the one.
Yeah.
Like I think I would make him the one. But Kevin, I'm looking at my notes on Quinyon Mitchell.
Tell me.
Love his size and build. Stout with speed. Not a burner, but stays close enough to make plays. Good hands. Knows when to make smart plays. Would like to see more of his tackling and discipline, but coverage-wise, he's phenomenal. So he's lived up to what I thought he would be. I thought he would be a very good cornerback in the league.
Now, this is a weird stat to me because it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with like who actually won the game. But the Chiefs are 0-7 in their last 7 games against the spread. No team has ever gone on to win the Super Bowl the same season it had a 6-game losing streak against the spread. But also, Hollywood Brown, they're opening up his practice window today. So 21 days until he comes back. I just wanted to throw out that factoid because I'm like, I guess, but like, I just think it's because the Chiefs have been so good. They're always favored by like maybe a little bit more than they should be.
For sure.
And then Patrick Mahomes is like, we'll win. I don't know what it's going to look like yet, but don't worry about it. We'll win the game.
Yeah, that's how they go about their business. Having Hollywood Brown back, I don't know that that's going to be much of a huge difference maker for their offense at some point. I really don't. I just don't think he's that much of a difference maker, honestly.
Hopkins has made a difference. It would be interesting when you do look at their if he comes back, let's say for the end of the season and then for the playoffs, and you had Travis Kelce, obviously veteran tight end who's been in all the big games along with Patrick Mahomes, and then you had Hopkins, Brown, and Worthy as your 3 main receivers. Like, that does sound great on paper. I'm still surprised to this day on paper that they don't score more. But we talked about it earlier. Their offensive line isn't very good. And then I think they play to the style of their team. I think Andy Reid says we are playing a defensive style of football because that's the strength of our team.
This is going to sound like a weird comparison, and I apologize if you hate this comparison. The Kansas City Chiefs are like a bad guy wrestler who's the champion, where they always make you think that you're going to do it this time. You're going to win the belt. But then at the end of it, you're like, I don't know what happened. We lost. I'm not entirely sure how it happened, but we lost.
Is that what the bad guy in wrestling does?
So that used to be the thing with Ric Flair, is he would go around all the places, and he would make you think. He'd like just be whipping his ass, and you're like, our hometown guy's going to do it. And then he wouldn't. And you're like, the crap happened.
And then he'd talk all that crap to you while he was beating
What about
your guy.
Kerry Von Erich at Texas Stadium?
That's right. He did. And then Kerry Von Erich had some reliability problems and had to give the belt essentially right back. But that's true. That did happen.
Did I just get a burger?
Yes.
I don't know. That might not be my burger.
But
I want a
you
burger,
kinda want
but I
it.
haven't ordered it.
All right, well, I mean, you should go ahead and take it if you want.
I'll get one with that.
We're the
one.
KNC Masterpiece right here.
That's funny.
We're making orders here today, Kevin.
I believe this is live coverage of Corey saying, I want the exact thing that you've brought to me, but not the thing that you just brought to me.
Well, this might be somebody else's burger,
okay,
Kevin.
That's fair. Coming up next, we're live at Buffalo Wild Wings in Bedford off of Airport Freeway. Coming up next, let's talk with Nate, the great Nathan Evaldi will be on with us next right here on The Fan.
Uber Eats has Lola V products? I got to remember that.
Well, you know, they say in order to remember something, you have to forget something else. Okay, now that is a very cute haircut. That's like a little shag. I've never seen that before.
Well, I mean, of course you have. It's the Rachel.
Oh, is that your name?
No, I mean like your name.
No, I'm Jen. My name's Jen.
Right, but I just mean like this is your haircut.
But that's hair on your head.
I'm not saying this is your hair.
Okay, freak me out a little bit.
KNC Masterpiece back here on 105.3 The Fan. We're live at Buffalo Wild Wings in Bedford, and right now we bring to you the man we are all so excited re-signed with the Texas Rangers. It is Nathan Eovaldi. Good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning. Good morning.
I hope you could hear all that applause for you.
I can, yes, I can. Thank y'all.
So I know we got a lot of baseball stuff to get to, but I have to ask another question first. Back in the day, you had originally committed to Texas A&M. Were you in on this Texas A&M Texas football game about a week or so ago?
I was not. I had unfortunately declined their offer after I had previously committed to them, and then I declined it. And I told them that I would take my luck with the draft, and I was able to get drafted by the Dodgers.
Seems like it turned out all right.
Did they? Yeah, I mean, you clearly made the right decision. Did Texas A&M do anything bad? Because we've heard some scary recruiting stories about sometimes A&M's kind of intense.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty intense. I mean, ultimately it just came down to me wanting to end up playing with the or trying to take my luck in the draft. I had my first Tommy John I was a junior in high school, so I didn't want to take that opportunity to possibly get hurt again playing in college. My dream was to play in the big leagues, and I wanted to take that opportunity and run with it, and try my luck in the draft. And it, like I said, it all worked out.
Evo, I know you just talked about your injury you had in high school, and I know we're going back in the day, and we'll talk about now here pretty soon, but did you play any other sports? Were you a basketball player or a football player in Alvin?
So growing up in Alvin, I had fallen off a horse when I was 9 years old, and I had a really bad concussion. So my dad was like, "You're not playing football," and I never put on the pads, so I didn't know anything what I'd be missing or anything like that. So, growing up, I played some basketball, but once I got to high school, being in Texas, it's like you can play baseball 24/7. Our high school coach was pretty adamant about us only playing baseball, and that was my best sport at the time, so that's what I did.
Pitchers are all about the fundamentals, and I know you were only 9, but did you fall off the horse because you weren't doing the right fundamental things to stay on that horse?
Yeah, I guess it was a neighbor's dog. He came running across the yard and spooked the horse, and the horse went up, and I let go of the reins. So yeah, I let go. I should have held on a little tighter.
I'm sorry, I laughed.
No,
Is it okay to laugh now? I'm sorry.
He's okay.
I'm sorry.
You're good.
Do you ride horses now, or are you like done with horses since 9 years old?
No, I've been done for the most part.
I'm with him because I'm definitely allergic to horses, so that's why I can't be on horses. So me and Evaldi are together on the sideline. I like it.
There we
with
go.
that. Now, you have seen, here in Texas, you've seen the World Series, and you've seen not the best season. What was it that you said, I have to be back for this club?
I'm sorry, could you say that again?
What was it that it made you say, I have to be back with this club, with this organization?
Again, we were able to come over there in 23. I saw the guys that we had, and we were able to win a World Series, and I don't feel like much has changed from that. I know last year we didn't play well, and we didn't play up to our standards, but I feel like that was just, I feel like we all kind of struggled at the same time, right? We were never able to get back on page. This year coming back, see what I spoke about, the vision that he has for the team and what it's going to take for us to win, and we've got ownership backing him, and I feel like we're going to be back to where we were in 23, and we're going to be surprising a lot of people again. I feel like our division's up for grabs. I feel like we've got a great opportunity to go out there and win a lot of games. So that was very intriguing for me to come back, and you got DeGrom healthy, ready to go, and you got Tyler Malley who's going to be back. You got Rocker and Leiter. I talk about the benefits from a losing season, right? You're going to have young guys who come up who, they get to perform, and they may not have had, that opportunity if we were winning a bunch of ball games. But, obviously they're going to help us. They're going to help, and they're going to contribute down the road, and, they're going to be ready for it this time around.
So I know you watch bullpens of your teammates, and I remember being in spring training with the Phillies and watching Billy Wagner, and I thought to myself, how does any human being ever touch a baseball off of Billy Wagner? You just mentioned Jacob DeGrom. When you watch guys throw bullpens, is he the most impressive guy that you watch standing behind and watch his stuff?
I would say so. I mean, we have all the data and everything in the TrackMan, and you get the strike zones right there. He doesn't throw any pitches down the middle. I mean, he locates everything at the bottom of the zone. I mean, in his bullpens, it's crisp, it's clean. He works on his changeup that he doesn't throw as much, and it's nasty. He throws some curveballs that he doesn't throw in the games, and they're nasty. And then you see the slider and the fastball, but it's not only is all of his pitches electric, but he locates them. And I mean, it starts in the bullpen, and it's really fun to watch because he'll throw a pitch, and he's big on. He'll be terrible, the worst, and it's 95 on the black, just not at the bottom corner on the black. It's just on the black middle away, and it's fun to watch. And nice to be able to give him a hard time about the little things like that too.
So, Evo, I know your teammates love you and call you a leader of the pitching staff, and you watch those bullpens. Can you explain to the Ranger fans here, why do you watch those bullpens, and how do you try to lead from, yes, the example of being the pitcher on the mound, but also from watching pens and talking to your guys?
Yeah, you want to be able to help somebody else during the game, right? But if you're not watching what they're working on in the bullpen, it's hard to help them out during the games as well. And, I feel like everybody's a little different when we work in the bullpen and then we transition to the game on the game mound. I feel like, we all go out there and we compete a little differently. But when we're in the bullpen, you're trying to work on your craft. And, they might say something that benefits me, and then they might be trying to do something that I can help them out in the bullpen or try to simplify something down. We talk about pitch sequencing and, ways to use pitches. I don't know. There's so many different things. I feel like sometimes, you go out there and you have a game plan of how you're going to attack a hitter, but then the hitter's going to show you something different, right? Or you can help set up different pitches. And it's just fun to talk ball and in the dugout or in the bullpens, in the dugout during the game when we're not pitching. We want to make sure that we're watching the game. And, if we see something, you got all the pitching coaches, Mike Maddox and, Bobby Wilson and everybody, they're all watching the games, and, they're not missing a beat. And, it's another set of eyes. You might see something that nobody else sees, and if you're able to help out, then it's going to help us win ball games, and that's what it comes down to at the end of the day.
It sounds like the answer is yes, but do you feel like you get that same, palpable fan excitement when you see some of the younger guys like Rocker or Leiter? I know you were already talking about DeGrom, and you see them in those bullpens, and you're like, oh, holy cow, they really can help our team. Because when you describe it, you sound like you're just sitting in the stands like us.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you're watching and everything, it's, again, being able to, fortunately be around so many different pitchers and arms and stuff. Like, we have some of the elite of the elite. Like, there's no other DeGrom, there's no other Rocker or Leiter out there in the game right now. So it's like, it comes down to being able to bottle up your craft and, locate and throw strikes. And I think that's one of the things DeGrom's done extremely well, and that's one of the things, that Rocker and Leiter are still working on. And, knowing that they have to change up their pitches and their sequencing and things like that the first time, second time, hopefully the third time through the lineup, I think that's one of the things that, that's definitely one of the things that was intriguing and, encouraging me to come back. I knew what we had, and I knew the guys that were, on the roster and who's coming up and things like that. So I know that we have arms available, and I know that we have what it takes to win.
Evo, you've played for different managers along the way, and Bruce Bochy's one of the best. What does Bruce Bochy maybe do different than all the other managers you've had?
I think he stays the same all the time. And, obviously he'll get frustrated if we're not playing well, and, he's not afraid to tell the guys. There's a lot of funny stories. I feel like, I can't think of any right now on the spot, but like, there's those moments like, the stuff that comes out of his mouth is pure gold, and he keeps the guys relaxed. He knows what it takes to win. He believes in the staff and the guys that we have. And, I feel like he knows when one of the biggest things is when to take a guy out of the game and leave him in. And, he does that really well.
So you got a new teammate yesterday, too, in Jake Berger. We're going to talk to him later. Have you faced Jake Berger, and what do you know about him?
I'm sure I faced him. I don't remember the results. I'm really bad about this stuff, like recalling what happened during the games and, who my first strikeout was in the big league. Sometimes I forget. I don't know. I feel like sometimes, like, I've just got to I've got to be able to turn the page when I'm out there pitching, right? Like, I know sometimes, like, I can attack guys one way or another, and, you kind of keep doing the same. I don't want to do the same thing, right? So I make sure that I'm prepared before I go into a start, knowing how to get the guy out. But no, I don't know much about him. I know that he hits a lot of homers, so I'm looking forward to watching that and cheering for him from the dugout.
Let's say when you're facing the Seattle Mariners in April and then you face them again in June, have you kind of forgotten how you got those guys out in April or what they did successfully against you?
Sometimes we have to face them back to back, and I do my homework. I take a ton of notes, and I'll do them all over again 5 days later, because maybe they find something in their swing, maybe they find something different in the series when we face them. They may be hot, they may be cold. So I got my notes I can go back to and look at, but for the most part, I like to watch the swings, read the swings, and, try to make sure that I'm mixing up all my pitches. And other times too, I've got 5 pitches, so I might have one pitch working really well, that day for me, and I'm relying on it a lot more than another one. So, I think that's one of the things that's helped me out in my career is having, 5 different pitches and using them all differently too.
With that many pitches, how often do you have a warm-up of your bullpen or whatever, and you're like, well, that pitch is not going to be on the table today. Like, it's just not working the way I need it to.
Yeah, so, when I was younger, I would believe that, right? Like, if there was one pitch that wasn't working, I'm like, I'm not using that during the game. And, I find myself down from 5 pitches down to 2, right? But I feel like there's, that's one of the things I try to tell a lot of the young guys is there's always going to be an opportunity to throw a pitch. There's going to be a safe count, like, where you can, I do it with my curveball a lot, I feel like, where I'm just going to throw it right down the middle. And nobody's waiting to hit that pitch, right? You're trying to hit a fastball or, the splitter, cutter, something like that, something that's coming in a lot firmer. And when that slow pitch comes in, it just, it kind of freezes the pitcher or the hitter, but it also resets everything too, right? So it's like kind of gets me back on track and back in the counts. And, maybe, at the beginning of the game, I didn't have the pitch working, but hopefully by the 4th or 5th inning, I've got it working now.
Last question. Did you write a list of what you wanted for Christmas to Santa? Oh. And what's on the list?
I'm really bad with Santa. haven't been asking Santa for a lot lately.
Another World Series.
That's it, right? I mean, if I had to pick one, that'd be the biggest one right there, is another World Series title.
See, I thought for sure you were going to say I wish for a 3-year, $75 million deal.
He delivered early.
Yeah, that's what I would have guessed. Well,
Right.
Nate, thank you so much. And really, everybody here, you heard the fans when we started. They are all pumped. I'm a lifelong Metroplex person. I'm pumped you're back. So thank you very much for the time, and so glad you're here to stay.
Thank you, guys. I'm looking forward to seeing y'all out there on the field in 2025.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. You hear the cheers for Nathan Eovaldi. Now, Mike, I know I'm going to regret this. Let me ask you something. We got Jake Berger coming up in the normal Mike Likes It slot.
Yeah.
If I were inclined to move some things around and still provide a space for Mike Likes It, would you be excited about such things?
I mean, the people. It sounds like they need to take a load off here at Buffalo Wild Wings. And I'm here to provide it.
Oh, my gosh.
Coming up next.
Oh, God, is it me already?
No. Coming up next, NFL overreaction or reality. We'll do that live from Buffalo Wild Wings in Bedford on 105.3 The Fan.
It's true that you've got to forget something else to remember that Uber Eats has groceries.
No, that's absurd. Hey, remember when you used to be a, what was it, Pepper Lady? Pepper Lady?
Wasn't it Cinnamon Sisters?
Basil Babes.
Saffron Squad?
Nutmeg Maidens?
Paprika?
No.
Nutmeg Maidens.
I just said that. Was it Spice Girls?
Doesn't sound right.
Was it Saffron Squad?
Costa of Arlington and her studios, it's the KNC Masterpiece on 105.3 The Fan.
KNC Masterpiece right here on 105.3 The Fan. We're live at Buffalo Wild Wings in Bedford with, I guess, all our rowdy friends are here today. So, due to apparently popular demand, we're going to move some things around, which means not yet, but right now, let's do some NFL overreaction or reality. You guys ready?
I think Mike is not, because he's currently trying to buy some Nathan Eovaldi autograph cards right now. Did the interview make you so excited that you're like, I got to get his cards now?
Look at the smile on his face. It obviously did.
I've already looked at some.
Okay.
But it feels, I don't know, I would have been a Eovaldi fan no matter what. Let's just say he would have signed with the Braves or back to the Red Sox or whatever.
Yeah.
He'll live in history as the greatest Rangers postseason pitcher in the history of their franchise.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, it could change
unless
over time.
DeGrom throws perfect games and
That's a good point.
But
Derek Holland can be second.
But now to know, most likely, as long as you don't trade him, he's going to be a Ranger now for 5 years of his career,
which is super
it
cool.
really establishes him more as a Ranger.
I like that. Yeah, I love that a lot.
And so he liked our idea that what he asked for Christmas was 3 for $75.
And he did say, I mean, there were a lot of teams after him, dude. There were a lot of teams that wanted him, and we got him back. And then he had the amazing horse story. So that's wild, too.
Yeah, that was.
I did not expect
I'm glad
that
story, I'm glad we asked about A&M, and it was sad, but then we got the horse story out of it. So
I love it.
That was nice. All right, NFL overreaction or reality. The Texans will find a way to not win the NFC South. All right, we've talked about how it's been disappointing for C.J. Stroud this year. I know that is not a good division, but could they possibly lose it out to Indianapolis and not win this division?
I don't think so.
Oh, really?
Maybe I'm wrong. They're 8-5 to 6-7.
Yep.
So you're looking at a win-out situation for Anthony Richardson. I don't think. I think Houston has it.
And they lost the tiebreak too.
Does it feel though that the Texans are kind of backing in?
Yes.
Based on the way the season was expected to go.
Absolutely.
They need to finish this one strong for sure. They need to finish it strong so that they can tell themselves that they're good enough. Offensive line's been a problem, but their defense hasn't been beautiful either.
There is no other AFC division they'd be in first place of.
Oh my gosh.
It's going to be tough for them to finish strong.
Yeah, it is. You see the end of their schedule. They got the Dolphins, the Chiefs, the Ravens, and then the Titans. And the Titans defensively give them fits.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
So if they do finish strong, if they win 3 of their last 4, you would probably feel better about them.
They got some momentum going.
Most likely,
in.
they're going to host a playoff game. They're not going to get in as a wild card. So they host a playoff game. And if they had to play the Ravens, you'd have that matchup right before the season ended.
That's playoff vibe to end the season for sure.
Well, let me ask you one more scheduling question as long as y'all are kind of looking at it. NFL overreaction or reality, the Vikings are a bigger threat to the Lions than the Eagles are in terms of getting the number 1 seed. It just feels like the Eagles have been playing really good football, and I know Sam Darnold has turned it back up in the last month or so. So I'm just throwing it out there, the idea that the Vikings are a bigger threat for the number 1 seed than the Eagles.
Well, that is the last game of their schedule, too, for Detroit.
That could be a big game.
Yeah, I mean, the Vikings have 3 division opponents to finish out their 4 games.
They still have the Packers again?
They got the Packers. They have the Bears
tough.
Again on Monday
Not
night.
tough.
And, the Bears, their quarterback's asking how to lose right now. So I think there's a little conversation
how to cope
there.
with losing.
The Seahawks, I don't know what to think of them. But, yeah, man, this is a tough stretch here. Or it seems like a good stretch for them because those are all winnable games for the Vikings. So setting up against the Lions, I think they're the ones hunting them down right now.
Maybe so.
Okay.
I know that the Eagles to finish the year are home against the Cowboys and the Giants. So if you look at that and you just say those are easy wins,
yes,
on a piece, they're going to be favored by at least 8 against the Cowboys, and I'd say at least 10 against the Giants, and I could be low on the line. So they got 2 easy wins. They play at home against the Steelers this week, and they play at Washington.
Okay, so that Washington game.
Yeah, and the Steelers are a very good team.
They are.
So let's just say they go 1-1. And then they win out, so that gives them 3 losses. So
So the Vikings would have to be perfect down the stretch. Yeah,
and they
I
only
got
have one road game the rest of the year against
geez.
a team, Washington, that has started to struggle.
NFL overreaction or reality. This one's sad. DeMarvion Overshown will not play in 2025.
No, I don't think he will.
I don't think that's an overreaction by any means.
Yeah.
Just because the nature of the injury itself. That's a lot of CLs.
A terrible trio.
That's a lot of CLs to replace.
That's true.
Let me ask you this. Let's just say they are 5-7, and he's getting close to being healthy where you can open up that window thing.
I don't think I want him to play.
At that point,
like you go, we can give him another 5 or 6 months where he doesn't have to be on a football field competing at. You can strengthen it even more.
Yeah. And even if you're doing well late in the season and going to the playoffs, I'm a little concerned about that because at that point he's missed so much time. How do we integrate him into this thing?
Yeah.
How does that fit?
Now,
how scared are you? I'll ask this question
really
back.
Scared.
How scared are you that he really never plays football
I'm
again?
actually really scared because here's my concern. I've got a couple of different levels of concern on this. First of all, that he's just like not ever able to be himself again. But my other concern is this, Mike. Let's say he doesn't play next year. Well, 2026 is going to be his 4th year, a.k.a. the end of his rookie contract. If he starts to look amazing again, is he going to want all the money and we're going to find
Jalen
ourselves
Smith deal?
Yes, right back in this situation again?
Or he doesn't play for 2 years and the Cowboys give him a 4-year, $52 million contract.
Can't rule it out. Now, Mike, you had brought this up, and I know last night's game was ugly, 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 but NFL overreaction or reality, the Rams can still make some noise in the playoffs.
Rams can go to the Super Bowl.
Wow, I like it. You wouldn't feel that? Would you feel that way in the AFC? Probably not. Okay.
Nope.
So because what the AFC is or the NFC is, that's why they can.
I think that the Rams got off to a horrible start this year. They had the wide receiver injuries with Kupp and Puka. They are healthy as far as I can tell. Like maybe they're missing a guy or two I'm just forgetting about. But if you look at the way that they've played after they started off the season 1-4, and now they are 8-6. I just think they're one of those teams. They get the Jets win, Cardinals at home most likely win, and then against Seattle at home to finish the year. I think they have a great chance to end up winning that division, and I think that they are a very scary team because I know the 49ers offensively are not very good this year, inconsistent to be nice. But now their defense showed up on Thursday night and only held the team to 6, and then they went to Buffalo and they scored, what was it, 44?
44.
Yeah, they have a lot of things going for them. Are they a perfect team? Are they a great team? I don't know. That might be too high of a bar, but I think that they could run a nice stretch here in the playoffs and win 2 or 3 games.
I showed you the numbers the other day on Matt Stafford when he has all 3 of those guys healthy, and Williams and his 2 receivers. I think it's 11-5 with 4,100 yards. The numbers are insane. So as long as they stay healthy, that's a good thing for them for sure.
NFL overreaction or reality, you would rather have Jamar Chase on your football team than CeeDee Lamb. Now, I went out of my way specifically not to say the Cowboys. This is just a vague general football team.
Okay. Look, man, Jamar Chase is insanely good.
He is.
His quarterback and him have been together for a long time. I have no clue how he is whenever he doesn't have Joe Burrow.
That's a really interesting point.
With him. And CeeDee Lamb, on the other hand, let's throw Kyler Murray out there with him and see how they do together.
Sure.
But I would take either one of those guys.
Had to only pick one.
There's no way to really do that. I'll take CeeDee Lamb.
Okay.
I think the numbers of catches that he has right now, his career-wise, they're just saying you're our part of our running game. You're the lead back for us. We're going to give you every touch we possibly can. I think you can do it with Chase. I think you can do that with Justin Jefferson too. Great trio of receivers to have in the league, but I'd take CeeDee Lamb.
I would lean towards Jamar Chase, but I do think there's a 4-pack of guys that you have the best wide receivers in the game. Not in any order, but I'll try to put them in my order. I would go with Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill, CeeDee Lamb.
How far is, just as a bonus, and I know he got hurt not that long ago, how far is Puka Nacua from getting in that group? Because I know he does a different kind of thing, but man, does he just find the ball.
Did you see that catch he made last night? It was the David Tyree kind of catch where he caught it on the linebacker's helmet. That's impressive, the strength that he had there. I think because I didn't know enough about him coming out.
Okay,
I'm kind of I don't really know.
Okay,
but man, the work that he's done with McVay has been very special.
Overreaction or reality? This one's tough. I really like this guy. I hope he succeeds. You've seen enough, and Kyler Murray is not a true franchise quarterback. Not to say he's not good.
What more do you have to invest into it to change? Because you've changed coaches, you've changed players around him.
High wide receiver pick.
You gave him Marvin Harrison Jr. The offense has been fine. I mean, it's been fine, but you expected more whenever you drafted him where you drafted him. Obviously, injuries was a big concern for him too. But at this point, I'm just like he is a quarterback in the NFL and he does some special things. But I'm not pinning any hopes on him.
I think that's kind of where I am. I like Kyler Murray a lot, but I think you've just seen enough now because they didn't continue to take off this season. I think you've seen enough where you're like, oh, he's good, but they
have so much work they still have to do in Arizona.
Let me ask you this. If you're the New York Jets,
I'd trade for him.
Yeah, would you trade your 3rd-round pick?
Hell yeah, I would.
I think the Cardinals at this point might go, screw it, let's try something different.
Yeah, and see, if I'm the Cardinals, I don't think there's any way I would take that low of compensation, which is a tough dynamic of, I don't think you're a franchise quarterback. I do think another team could, be pushed over with you as opposed to the awful quarterback play they've had.
Yeah, I bet there's a lot of teams that would take Kyler Murray and think they might be able to win it all, but probably realistically go, at least he gives us a chance to make the playoffs.
Okay, now this is another quarterback who maybe you think fits in this category, maybe you don't. NFL overreaction or reality, you would give Sam Darnold a long-term deal.
No.
If I'm the Vikings?
Let's say you're another team.
No.
Okay.
He has Justin Jefferson.
He does.
He has Hawkinson. He's got a pretty good running game, and he's got a coach that he has aligned perfectly with. And the way that they call the game, they understand what Sam Darnold does well and what he doesn't do well. I can't believe that my coach is going to be the one that can get the hands on him and make him good.
Can I ask one more follow-up question then? You're the Vikings. 4 for $120. So $30 million a year.
It's funny, as I was thinking, if he wants to do 3 for $60.
Okay.
But you just went to another year and added 10. I think you're okay with him there because I have to realize that obviously now the market is $60 million.
Yeah.
And I mean, I hate saying this. It is what it is. I think there's going to be a dozen agents to go, my guy's better than Dak Prescott.
Yeah, probably so.
And so now it's going to probably start creeping over 60 because of the person who got 60.
I agree.
So I'm okay with 30, 4 for 120, and he's a guy that I cannot build a great team around if I start getting into the $50 million range or close to. But at $30 million, I could probably keep a lot of my guys around and have more talent around my guy, which he has to have. He cannot carry a team.
You marry him with Justin Jefferson for that entirety of his contract, which if Justin Jefferson loves that, then go for it. You do have J.J. McCarthy, though.
I know that's an interesting wrinkle in all of this.
Pick on him, so that's where that conversation I would have to really say, all right, do I believe that my head coach is good enough to get this guy who should have been a rookie off the ground?
Do you think you could recoup a first? Let's just say you go with he wants to accept a 4-year deal for $120.
Yes, I do.
Do you think you get a first-round pick in this draft?
Yes, I do.
Okay, then I might do that because now I'm getting that first-round pick back, so now I have 2 first-round picks this year to help out my Sam Darnold-led team for the next 4 years.
I got one more for you, and I think this is reality. NFL overreaction or reality. The Chiefs locked up home field advantage when the Bills lost to the Rams.
Reality.
Yeah, I think that's a reality there because they already had the loss against the Chiefs.
Yeah.
And I just don't see – I mean, we kind of looked a little bit at the schedule there. I just don't see the Chiefs really faltering that much down the stretch here based on what they've already done.
Does it have to lose 2 more to lose the tiebreaker?
Yeah, so if you're the Bills right now, you're still trying. You're still putting the effort out there, but you kind of know where you are in this whole thing.
Not the easiest schedule, not the hardest schedule. At Browns, home against the Texans, at Steelers, at Broncos for the Kansas City Chiefs.
And then you look at the Bills, they have the Lions this weekend.
Yeah.
So,
good luck.
Yeah, straight up. This is a really top-heavy, great slate of games for the NFL this weekend. We're the KNC Masterpiece right here on 105.3 The Fan. Coming up next is we're live from Buffalo Wild Wings in Bedford. We will talk with the newest Texas Ranger, Jake Berger, and unfortunately the people have demanded it. I think we're going to throw in Mike Likes It as well.
I guess.
No teas necessary.
Just go to break.
Uber Eats has Lola V products? I gotta remember that.
Well, you know, they say in order to remember something, you have to forget something else. Okay, now that is a very cute haircut. That's like a little shag. I've never seen that before.
Well, I mean, of course you have. It's the Rachel.
Oh, is that your name?
No, I mean, like, your name.
No, I'm Jen. My name's Jen.
Right, but I just mean, like, this is your haircut.
But that's hair on your head.
I'm not saying this is your hair.
Okay, freaking me out a little bit.
The Expressway is brought to you by the On Time Experts.
Play fake, standing deep middle, intercepted. Hooker at the 17-yard line. There was not a black shirt around him.
KNC Masterpiece back here on 105.3 The Fan. We're live at Buffalo Wild Wings in Bedford. 1933 Airport Freeway, and in about 20 minutes, we'll talk with the newest Texas Ranger, Jake Berger. And I know normally on today we would do Cowboys win because Cowboys lose because, but the people have spoken, and I want to support their decision even if I hate it. And right now, it's time for Mike Likes It.
I am famous. Oh,
he is currently bowing.
You guys are in public.
Chris, are we supposed to take a load off here, Chris? All right, so I want to start this off this way. I got a call from my son during our last segment, and that makes me nervous. I don't know about you guys, but when your kids are in school and they give you a call, you're like, are they sick? Did they get in trouble? He does drive to school now. I'm like, did somehow you get off campus and get into a wreck, or what's going on? But the great news is he called me, and I just asked him if everything was okay, texted him. He said, I made varsity baseball. So Jake Bassick, as a sophomore, made varsity baseball.
That is awesome.
So, watch out, Prestonwood Christian. He's always talking about how great Prestonwood
They
Christian
are.
is.
They are.
And they are great. They're in their same kind of – but I'm like, hey, I don't care. I was on a team that was awesome too, and we didn't win state. So that's my first one. My second one is this, guys and girls here, is does it seem like when financial things go wrong, there's like a pile up of things? You're like, how is it? Why can't they be spread out a little bit more in life than when they just kind of hit you all at one time? And we have a great Tolo who listens a lot. Corey recommended him to me. It's Michael Talbot. Am I saying his
my
last
God,
name
he's
right?
the best. The plumber?
Great plumber. But we have a major issue at our house with hot water, and he did a whole bunch of great things, but he tested out we do have lead in our water.
Oh, no.
We do have super hard water.
Nice.
Our tankless water heater is getting so much, I'll say, debris into it that's causing a whole bunch of issues and having to flush it out. And so I will just say it's going to cost thousands of dollars to fix, which you have to do.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do. So then my other son, Cal.
So you can get the lead out, you know what I mean?
I gotcha.
Yeah.
He comes home from school.
Take a lead off.
Yeah. And now we're like, so we've been drinking lead water. Sweet.
That feels not great.
When I was in Rome, they said the theory is, they had the great water that was running into Rome. They don't have water in Rome, but they had to get it there back in right around Jesus' time, right?
Uh-huh.
So they built these unbelievable water ducts is what I'll call them. Aqueducts, thank you.
Ooh.
And they would bring water in from lakes that were 30 miles away, and there was no electricity. It just, because of gravity, would pull it in. So everybody was getting fresh, clean water in Rome. But the richest of the richest people, the emperors and the leaders, they put in special pipes in their kingdom. And theirs had special pipes to make sure that they were getting the best water, and they were lead pipes. And they were like, over time, they were drinking lead water, and they thought over time their emperors kept making horribly bad decisions. And they're like, was it because they were slowly poisoning themselves with lead in their water? So I found out in South Dallas, what do you know? We got lead in our water.
Heck yeah, y'all.
Don't cheer for that. That's not a good thing.
It's the water of emperors. That's what he just told us.
Yeah.
Well, what happened to them? They all got killed because people hated them.
They got their groove.
That's a cartoon. That is a good one.
Dallas, remember when we talked about this? Like, hey, it's unknown if you have lead in your water. No, it's known now. I had a real plumber come over, and I really do have lead in our water.
I'm sorry.
So he has to put in a system to make sure that the filtration system, make sure that is very minimal, that gets through the system and other things like that. But then my son gets home from school, and we bought him a brand new Apple computer. And I feel like if you're not a parent, or if you're a parent of, let's say, an elementary school kid, when they get to high school now, or at least, I don't know, maybe it's different for Brandon, but for Mary Grace and Jake and Cal, they have to have a computer at school, their own personal computer. So we buy them an Apple because whether you like them or not, I do feel like they last longer than when I've had Dells or other computers. Like I've had this computer since 2018. It's done me pretty darn well. I haven't had really any issue with it. There's small issues, but very little. But it still runs well. His, a third of the screen or a fourth of the screen goes black.
Oh, no.
So we take it up to Apple, and they're like, oh, it's fixable for $500.
Oh, my gosh.
And I was like, should we just get him a new one?
Yeah, because what does it run? Like
$1,000,
okay.
I think. I don't know, but I'm thinking an Apple computer is
about 15, yeah,
okay.
12, 15, something like that.
Inflation.
$9.99 for the smaller ones.
I don't know if that's all inflation right there, but okay.
But because my wife watched that documentary on Netflix about buy more, she's like, I don't want to just throw away a computer.
Oh, yeah, so she wants to get it fixed?
Yeah, so she wants to get it fixed for $500. And I'm like, all right. I'm just hoping that when you fix it, you fix it. Because a lot of times
it doesn't cause a new problem.
It feels like when you open up computers and you start doing that, my opinion, this is probably totally wrong, but my opinion is, then you're going to have more issues because something's wrong with the computer.
Don't you think people feel the same way about cars? It's like once you open up and fix one thing, and then people are like, what's going to happen now?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I would say just in my history working in IT, once you fix the component, you're good. So once you make sure you got the right thing, it depends on what it is, but most of the time, yes.
Isn't that the scary thing about buying a used car? If you see if it's been in a wreck, and it has been, and you're just like, how bad was the wreck? What did you guys do to kind of fix it up so it's workable, but not,
When we were looking for a car for Avery, I saw a guy, and I said, I want to see the Carfax on it. I looked at the Carfax on it, and I was like...
Did a little puppet pop up?
No, a little puppet did not pop up. No little fox or anything. But whenever I looked at it, it said it was a minor accident. And I was like, okay. And so as I popped the hood and started looking, Mike, I saw the frame of the car was welded together. And I was like, what happened here? And he goes, yeah, we had to weld that. And I was like, that's not a minor accident. Like, that whole front side was shifted at some points where it ripped it off. So, yeah, man, you always got to do your homework even deeper.
There's child abduction in Tyler. I don't know if you heard that. There's an audible. Oh, my goodness. So... just if you're in Tyler, be on the lookout. You probably got the same notice as the rest of us.
All right, we're enjoying taking a load off here.
Take a load off.
And I would just like to shout out our Tolos. And Jessica just came in here. I think she just works close to here, so she had to take off, but maybe she's in the car. But she couldn't believe that we were in Bedford, and she came in here and had to take a picture with us. So
here we are.
That was awesome of Jessica. Dan brought us cronuts again.
Those are amazing.
We have cigars that were brought to us.
Yeah, we got some cigars.
We have Vienna sausages with Ritz crackers that were brought to us.
So a whole variation of
Corey,
awesome B35 or something like that.
You've had coffee brought to you. And now when we go to taking a load off, I love taking a load off in the morning with a cup of coffee.
Okay. That usually is. It's kind of a drink that predicts itself, right? It lets you
what
know.
What does that mean?
It lets you know what the outcome's going to be. It goes in brown, and then
what?
You have
probably
to go.
Comes out white or yellow because it's pee.
But it makes you go take a load off.
It does.
So.
Caffeine gets you going.
Yeah. Huh. It's a diuretic, Kevin. I don't know. Have you ever heard that before? That you drink coffee?
Didn't L. Ron Hubbard write that book? That's Dianetics. I'm sorry. My mistake. Thank you to the one person in here who thought that was funny as hell. That guy was like, that's the funniest thing I've heard all day. Everyone else is stupid.
They read Dianetics, that's for sure.
All right.
This cup of coffee that you had, is it something like better than normal, or is it just like...
Oh, that's wonderful coffee. It is...
Where's it from?
It's from HEB.
Oh, wow, it's amazing. HEB makes great products by the butt.
Uh-huh.
But the butt won't come and... but guess what I found about Howard E. Butt?
What's that?
Oh, this is actually a really interesting story.
By the way, in case you're curious, that's why it's HEB. Howard E.
It's
Butt.
not Hearst, Euless, Bedford?
No, because they don't even have one here yet. I know they're building one, but...
My mommy texted me yesterday.
Oh, my God. Is this related to what you just said?
Yes.
Okay.
Here's what I'll say mom. I was just teasing by saying
When
that.
was the last time I said mommy?
When do you change from mommy to mom?
4, 5, 8.
So when
I don't know.
So I don't know. If Noah says "mommy" in kindergarten, are you gonna be like, "No"?
Probably not.
Call her mom or you get out of my house.
You call her mom or Jess.
I will probably will not.
Or
I probably will
dad's
not.
lover.
I definitely will not do that.
Do you remember when I tried to get your son to tell your wife, say, "Mom, you look sexy today"?
Yes, and he did not want to do that.
That was as he shouldn't. That was a real thing that happened. By the way, for people that ask, like, hey, is Mike doing a bit? This happened off air. He tried to convince one of Corey's kids.
Carter, right? That's right. Carter got mad at me, too.
He did. He said something really.
Up.
Yeah, he said you were going to die.
Yeah. Okay,
Oh,
so
my
this
God.
is what my mom texted me yesterday about Mr. Howard Butt of HEB.
Uh-huh.
Your dad went to school with Howard. He was a star tennis player at Trinity. National championship tennis team. Not
Really?
Trinity here, Trinity in San Antonio.
Wow. That's a college, Kevin. I
Yes,
do believe.
thank you.
So I have an in with HEB.
Yeah, and he was a star tennis player, dude.
Okay, did you just get your dad to be like, hey, can you just reach out and be like, hey, what's the deal?
Reach out to the
Why can't
Mr.
we get
Butt.
an HEB out here?
Yeah, get an HEB in your neighborhood. You got to hook up.
I know. Do you think that Mr. Butt has heard the things I've said? And do you think that Mr. Butt is like, I know that guy, but doesn't know it's the son?
I think he also feels that the way you continually say Mr. Butt is to make fun of him.
That's his last name.
Okay, but you don't
Mr.
call that
Hagelin.
person. You don't never call me that, and you certainly don't call me that in succession.
He's older than me. And we don't know each other, so I'm being respectful by saying Mr. in
Okay,
his last
but
name.
if you were having a conversation, you wouldn't be like, Mr. Majors, question. You'd answer, and I go, Mr. Majors, another question. You just continue the
question.
Okay, see, Seth Rollins knows.
You could call him Sir. You could just say Sir Butt, instead Sir Butt. What are your thoughts on this? You can say Sir Butt instead. Is that okay with you, Kevin, or does that cross another line?
Does my opinion really matter in this?
Yeah, especially when we're taking a load off, dude.
Is that what we're doing? Because this is stressing me out.
We are in Bedford at Buffalo Wild Wings. There might be a few tables open right now. It's been an awesome crowd here. And I haven't got to this story all week, and I know I'm going to give it a short amount of time because in about 3 to 5 minutes we will have new Texas Ranger Jake Berger on. Is the documentary, I believe it's on Amazon Prime, and I saw it last week. I will recommend it, even though I think their timeline gets a little bit, let's say, Von Erich's the movie.
Okay.
With Dirk Nowitzki. It's Game 7s. There's 5 different documentaries of 5 different Game 7s. The first one is like 2003. The Yankees beating the Boston Red Sox in Game 7 when Aaron Boone hit the home run. I have not seen any of the others. There was a New York Rangers.
It looked interesting, yeah.
There's a New York Rangers one for hockey, which I honestly don't know what year that was, if there was some big Game 7 for them. But the third one is the Dallas Mavericks beating the San Antonio Spurs in 2006 in the Western Conference semifinals. And it does go through it pretty well. It talks about Jason Terry hitting Michael Finley when Finley went to the Spurs in the Nads in Game 5 and him getting suspended for Game 6 because a lot of people in that documentary said if Jason Terry late in Game 5 doesn't take the Nad shot to Michael Finley, then you're probably not going to have Game 7, as it was a contested, low-scoring Game 6, but without Jason Terry, the Mavs really struggled to score.
Yeah.
Well, it goes into Dirk Nowitzki and how nobody trusted European players.
Yes.
Nobody thought that they could lead a team. And I thought to myself, I get it. And they were kind of saying, after this game, everybody believed. But they were showing people like Pau Gasol, Darko Milicic. They were already drafted top 5 in the NBA before this game. So I felt like they were showing guys, I'm like, they're already in the NBA. They were already top 5 picks.
Do you think it was more fans, not necessarily front offices, that felt that way?
They were, I agree, yes, but they were kind of relating it to both.
Okay.
And then I'll say this, in the end, where they're like, now all these teams could trust possibly a European to lead their franchise. No, they couldn't. You guys remember this, and by the way, you got Berger coming up, but How many times did we have to go over that Dirk is great until he won the championship? Nobody believed it, and that's Mike Likes It, and now Jake Berger time.
Right now, the newest addition to the Texas Rangers, it is, in fact, Jake Berger. Good afternoon, sir.
How we doing?
We're doing very well. Now, we always like to get some background on the newest players that we have. Are you, by chance, a big Chicago Blackhawks fan?
Yeah, I kind of I supported them for a while. It's been kind of tough over the last couple of years, but I don't want to make myself seem like a bandwagoner. But yeah, I love Jonathan Toews, and he was my favorite player growing up, and loved watching him. So just kind of fell in love with the Hawks.
And then I know with one of your previous teams, the White Sox alternate training site was in Schaumburg. I have a lot of family that live in Schaumburg. How cool is that mall in Schaumburg for people who don't know?
Yes, Schaumburg's sweet. That was like a awesome setup for an alternate site. The Boomer Stadium there was sweet, and I have fond memories of my time in Schaumburg.
So when it comes to Jake getting traded to the Texas Rangers, can you talk about your initial reaction when, whether it was your agent or Miami or the Rangers who called you up?
Yeah, it was kind of funny. Me and my wife and I fell asleep around 9:45, and our 2-year-old actually woke up having a bad dream. So we both woke up and got the call that I'd been traded, and my wife was tending to Brooks, our son, and I was just waiting for her to come out of the room because I was like super fired up, and I kind of scared the living crap out of her. But when I told her, we were both excited and super pumped to be joining such an awesome organization. And Dallas is just such an awesome city. We live in Nashville, so pretty similar, obviously, but it was definitely an exciting feeling.
Are you neighbors with Boach? He's in the Nashville area too.
Yeah, we actually live somewhat close, so
Really?
I'm gonna grab some lunch with him over the next few days, and talk to the new skipper.
He's a Weller guy. Just putting that out there for you right now. So if you want to get on his good side, hey, what's your relationship like with Skip Schumacher? He comes here to Texas to kind of be a consultant with the team. What's your relationship with him like?
Yeah, he was awesome. I loved playing for him in Miami, and him and I have a really good relationship. He's helped me so many ways, not just on the field but off the field, and just kind of taught me how to go about things. And he's definitely a great dude and hard worker, and I'm excited that we're in the same organization.
Do you think he was a voice in you arriving in Texas then?
I don't want to speculate, but
okay.
I definitely think he definitely pushed it in the right direction, and he's awesome, and Pipe obviously was my bench coach as well, so a lot of guys I worked with over the last 2 years.
You use a lot of the same words that Schumacher used to describe you.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, he's a winning ball player. He hits the ball as hard as anyone in the league.
He's a cage rat.
Yeah. So what does it mean to hear these people that you have that admiration for, they have the same admiration right back at you?
Yeah, it's an honor. And, I grew up in St. Louis, so I watched Skip play all the time in my youth days, and, always loved how he played the game, and, tried to model that work ethic and, playing the game hard, playing the game the right way after him. And so, it's definitely an honor to hear those words from him.
Jake, when you see a fastball coming right down the middle, what is going through your head?
Salivation.
Yeah, licking my lips. Yeah, that's I think that probably started in college at Missouri State. Just trying to be on the fastball and never getting off of it. So if I see one down the middle, it's a great day, and just don't be late. be on time. Sometimes it gets you in trouble swinging at the slider in the dirt that looks like one because you're willing it to be a fastball down the middle. But, it's part of it.
Can you tell us the difference? And you can change the speeds if you want, but let's say a 94-mile-an-hour fastball to a 98-mile-an-hour fastball. What's the difference from a hitter's perspective?
I think if you start your move on time and you're convicted in your approach, I don't know if there's necessarily that big of a difference. I think the time that those speeds come into play is when you're in between or, not fully convicted and what you're trying to do or you're starting late. That's kind of what I've found with myself. I can only speak for myself in that situation in the box. But, more times than not, if you're calm and collected, we see enough velo that, 5 miles an hour might not make the difference.
Now, kind of a similar vein of question, how often can you tell whether it's you hear the sound, you feel the contact, or you just know, like, hey, this is a home run versus a double versus hey, this is going to end up being a lengthy single? Like, how often can you tell that quickly off a point of contact?
I would say majority of my home runs, I know, obviously you have a few wall scrapers in there that you're just, willing it to get over the fence. But more times than not, you feel it. And, for me, it's I can kind of tell with how it looks off the bat and feels off the bat what the outcome's going to be. For me, I'm coming out of the box as hard as I can no matter what. I don't really pimp home runs or anything like that. I'm thinking that extra base. If I can get a triple next to my name every year, I'm going to be happy. So I'm motoring out of the box. But more times than not, you kind of feel it.
Now, with that in mind, and also with in mind it's a family show, is there anything that you say in your mind while you're running out of the box to get that one over the wall? Like, do you have a go-to where you're like, come on, come on, come on? Or are you like, come on, you stupid piece of, get over the wall?
No, it's more like go, 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 go. Like, that's probably the main thing. And then I don't want to get caught up with watching it because then, my route to first base is going to be all jacked up and, really inefficient. So, but yeah, it's more just go, 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 go. And when you see it go over, I mean, that's the best feeling in the world.
New Ranger and probably our new favorite Ranger too. On top of that, Jake Berger joining us here on the KNC Masterpiece on 105.3 The Fan. Immediately when we saw the trade, we all started going to watch highlights to go see what you were all about and see what your best stuff is. The thing that I noticed the most was you have a variety of different facial hairs throughout your seasons. Do you choose one at the beginning of the year and say, I'm sticking with the mustache all year? Or do you say, you know what, I'm switching it up throughout the season?
I switched it up throughout the season, depending on how many 0 for 4s, I'm dealing with. But for me, my wife loves the mustache look, so like that's got to be the staple. That's the bread and butter there. But if I'm feeling good and I'm letting it grow, it'll get to kind of that bigger beard, and. If I'm not seeing the ball, if the ball's looking like a marble, I'll shave it all off and, try and get some more aerodynamics with my speed, maybe beat out a couple infield knocks.
So baseball is all about the numbers, the statistics. Have you ever put together a comprehensive facial hair database to determine what your numbers do comparatively?
No, I have thought about writing down, the algorithm with that. I don't know if it's just it doesn't feel like the shaving it completely off and having kind of the baby face has worked at all. I think it's more just a change of pace. But, yeah, I want to say that the majority of my home runs have come with my beard, and the majority of when I'm hitting well for average come with the mustache.
Okay, so Kevin, I think that's as the baseball show of record in DFW, we will keep track of that for him this year. That's what, Jake, we're going to keep track of it. We'll monitor the situation and let you know how things are going.
That would be great. Yeah, then I have a basis on why I'm doing certain things.
We get a DM from your wife, and she's like, hey, tell him to stop doing that with his facial hair, all right? I don't like it.
Yeah, just keep the mustache.
So, Jake, when you got up to the big leagues, the White Sox were a very good team. And then, obviously, that changed with the White Sox last year. The Marlins, didn't have a great season. Neither did the Rangers last year either. But you are going to a team that has aspirations of getting back to the playoffs, of trying to get back to the World Series like they did in 2023. I'm sure you're working very hard before the trade. But how much more motivation is there knowing that you're coming to a team that feels like they can win 90 or more games, that feels like if they get back to the playoffs, they can make another run?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. When I heard the news, that I immediately went to is doing everything I can personally to help the team win as many games as we can and make the furthest push that we can in the postseason. And ultimate goal is to win the World Series. And that starts now. For me, I feel like when I got traded at the trade deadline from Chicago to Miami to help with that postseason push, that was the most fun baseball I've played. And, it's not really a me mentality. It's a team mentality. And, when you're in that race, it's you get guys picking you up throughout the lineup. You don't feel like the weight of the world's on your shoulders. And, it's just playing good team baseball. And that's what I'm about. And that's when I have the most fun. So I'm really looking forward to it and really fired up.
And that kind of answers one part of my question. I was going to be, how easy is it to jump into the winning culture? But on the flip side, I am curious, how difficult is it to not get sucked into, hey, we've got a losing culture here? Whether it's a team has lost, had a losing record 2 years in a row or whatever the case might be, how difficult is it to not fall into that trap?
Yeah, I mean, that's always the thing is, about the culture, and that's on the foundation that's built. And, this organization has a great baseline and, obviously won the World Series. And, you're built on the foundation, and you got winners in that clubhouse. And that's what I'm really excited about is, getting to learn from all these guys that, did win a World Series and, getting to work with them. So that's what I'm mainly fired up about is getting into that culture and getting into that clubhouse and, learning as much as I can.
Jake, I'm sorry if I'm going to tire you with burger questions, but here is in Texas here, we've had the boomstick at the ballpark for a long time, and that was named somewhat after Nelly Cruz.
Yes.
And so, obviously, your last name means that you could have something named after you at the ballpark. If you were to create the perfect burger, what would be the perfect burger?
So, in college, there was a burger place right next to campus that named a mac and cheese burger after me. And they asked me the same question. Incidentally, over the last probably 2 years, I've kind of switched to a little more of like a Texas-style burger, with barbecue sauce on it. Yes. I might be wrong with thinking that it is a Texas-style burger, but a little caramelized onion on it. I get some good barbecue sauce on it, and that's kind of what I've made for the family on burger nights in the off season. So it'd probably be something along the lines of that.
Now, our show here has decided donuts are done.
Yeah.
We only eat cronuts now. Have you had a cronut?
I have not.
Do you know what a cronut is or have an idea of what a cronut is?
I have no idea.
It is a croissant that they make into a donut. And I'm telling you, Jake, we're going to bring you one. We brought Bochy one last year.
He goes, loved it.
What are these? And I brought him a cronut, and he was like, yes, they do. They are superior to the donut.
That sounds unbelievable. I mean, I don't know why I'm hearing about this for the first time right now.
Well, see, we're the baseball show of record, but also when you meet us, the food show of record. We can help out with both of those things. Man, I'm glad you're here. We're all lifelong Rangers fans.
Yep.
I don't know if you can hear the crowd in the background. They're all glad you're here, too. So thank you very much for the time, good sir.
Yeah, thank you. I'm fired up to get down to Arizona and get it going.
See you at spring training, man. Go get Rangers.
We'll bring them cronuts.
Yes, we will. There you go.
Do they have them in Arizona?
Jake
we might have to ship
right
some.
Here. Yeah, because if they don't, then you guys will start a pop-up business there.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea.
Man, if we ever want to live in Italy, we have our. It's like, what do you do in Italy?
We can just ship over these.
You got to make money.
Oh, hold on. Do we make them fresh, or do we just order them?
Make them fresh.
Gotcha.
We're not shipping them. Do you know how long of a flight that is? I thought I was going to die coming back.
You can bake them, right?
We'll figure it out. I think you fry them,
okay.
don't you? Like
I'll let him take care of that.
It feels like you guys got a lot of work to do on this
I'm running the
business
front of the house. I'm running the front of the house.
We're the KNC Masterpiece right here on 105.3 The Fan. We are live at Buffalo Wild Wings in Bedford. 1933 Airport Freeway. Coming up next, it's time for the C Block starring Corey Majors.
Oh, my gosh. This college student went viral for this. Would you do it? Next on The Fan.
True that you've got to forget something else to remember that Uber Eats has groceries.
No, that's absurd. Hey, remember when you used to be what was it, Pepper Lady? Pepper Lady?
Wasn't it Cinnamon Sisters?
Razor Babes.
Saffron Squad?
Nutmeg Maidens?
Free Club?
No.
Nutmeg Maidens.
I just said that. Was it Spice Girls?
Doesn't sound right.
Was it Saffron Squad?
O'Reilly Mazda of Arlington and her studios. It's the KNC Masterpiece on 105.3 The Fan.
KNC Masterpiece right here on 105.3 The Fan. We're live at Buffalo Wild Wings in Bedford. And it's been an extravaganza. We got C-Block in just a second. But I wouldn't have thought all these things would come together. Somebody dropped off cigars for us. Somebody dropped off coffee for Corey, as well as some cool homemade salsa and other stuff. We have Vienna sausages and Ritz crackers. Cronuts were brought. And now we get word that Heisman Trophy finalist and soon-to-be high draft pick Cam Ward, his cousin, has come and dropped us cupcakes? Is that what's happening here?
Miss Nicole Ward, who has sensational cakes in North Richland Hills. She listens to us all the time. Said, I love you guys.
Unbelievable.
And I was like, Cam Ward? Like, I'm like making sure I have the right one. She's like, yeah, the one that's like up for the Heisman. I'm like, and so, yeah.
She should understand why we'd be skeptical about like the Cam Ward?
Yeah, and so, she has a bakery, Sensational Cakes in North Richland Hills, and loves us and brought us some cupcakes.
I haven't tried it yet. The one you pulled out there, it looks
They're
fantastic.
all the same.
Okay, it looks sensational.
She said they've been on Food Network, the Cake Wars, and stuff like that.
Wow.
Yeah, man, and you know what, to be quite honest, I think all we've done is talk nice about Cam Ward. So I think
actually, yes.
We've been
there are other players that I'm like,
yeah, if that was Quinn Ewers' family, they're
not bringing us those.
I might not eat that cupcake.
Oh.
You know? Like, you get it. We're the KNC Masterpiece right here on 105.3 The Fan, and right now, it's time for the C Block starring Corey Majors.
Kevin. I really appreciate that. Oh, thank you for the cheers as well. All right, thank you. I appreciate you guys. All right, so a college student has gone viral from a guy named Big Red Dave on Twitter. He, every day, shows up into class wearing an NFL jersey or a jersey of some type. And so every day he shows up, and Big Red Dave has been tweeting out, Jackson Smith and Jigba jersey at 9:30, geography, you bet. And then he said, Freddie Garcia jersey, 9:30, geography.
Freddie Garcia,
DeAndre Ayton jersey. So guess what happened? Fanatics found this out, saw what was going on, and Fanatics delivered him a year's worth of jerseys, just random jerseys, so that he had jerseys to wear. I mean, he already had the Freddie Garcia jersey, and so they said, hey, as Fanatics, we know we bought all the things that you love as a fan, because isn't that what they're doing? They're like just absorbing everything.
They are
out
pretty
there.
much taking over.
Yeah, they were like, we need some good publicity, it's time for us to give back. So they gave back by doing that. If you got a year's worth of jerseys,
do you hope they're all obscure like that? Like, I'm not saying all those players are obscure, but the connection between Jackson Smith and Jigba and DeAndre Ayton and Freddie Garcia, like, you could see how someone would like struggle with that initially.
Yes, I'm sure there's going to be a Willie Roaf in there somewhere, right? Like, you're going to get one of those random offensive line jerseys, and that's fine. But I do like the idea that they're all kind of bit jerseys and out there. Yeah. Does he hang all those up? Do they fold them all up? How does he have a year's? That's 365 jerseys.
Would you make curtains out of some of the jerseys?
Maybe so. He likes to wear them, though.
I'd say hang them up, but you have to have a pretty dang big closet or multiple closets.
That's true.
That's a lot of jerseys.
Just say 300. Like, you're not hanging up 300 different collared shirts and jeans and everything. Maybe people are, but
I am not.
Big closet. So I'd say you want to hang them up because then you don't have to iron them.
Oh, man. Ironing is insane. Oh, by the way, hold on, though. You have an iron?
Yes.
Do you have an iron?
Yeah, I'm hoping that most people do.
Okay.
My son, if you saw my sons go to school, you would say they don't have an iron.
A while, yes. My son, too. Like, everything's on the floor, and he just, like, smells right.
But they can wear whatever they want to their school, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Our
kids have to wear button-down white shirts with a tie and everything, so they are going with crinkled up, like, dress shirts.
When we went, Adrian and I went on our anniversary, we stayed at a hotel, and I was looking around for the iron, and I was like, I have no clue where this thing is. I pick up the phone, and I call downstairs, and I'm like, we don't have an iron in our room. We had one of those slots for the iron to go in.
But no iron?
And no iron, and they said, look in the bag where the iron is hanging.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, okay, and I open it up, and it's not an iron. It's a steamer. and I used the steamer on my suit, and it was better than an iron. And I think
if we have a steamer, I don't know about it.
Yeah,
I think, Mike, what we need to
do,
we need to go cronuts and steamers. Like that's
steamer
what we need.
the cronut of
yes.
Okay,
it's better. Nobody's got the market like locked down right now, so I think steamers are a way to go on this.
Okay,
that's my suggestion: is invest in.
Would
steamer.
you still do that if you had the business in Cleveland?
Yes. Yes, I would, Kevin. I would make sure I did that.
Okay.
That being said, if you got a year's worth of jerseys, what's the one that you would hope would be in there? One jersey, and it doesn't have to be like a game worn or anything like that, but just that one jersey. You're like, I would wear that jersey all the time.
I really think I would want the red Juan Gonzalez jersey, because Jared had a Juan Gonzalez autographed bat at Swinging for a Cause, and I definitely got involved in that bidding. Then I lost. But yeah, I think the red playoff Juan Gonzalez Texas Rangers circa 1996 jersey. I know that's very specific. That's what I would look for.
When we think about jerseys and wearing them, and I get football jerseys sell off the rack because football's so popular, but football are the most boring jerseys. It's the number on the front, the number on the back. It doesn't say Cowboys across it big or anything like that, or in a different way, or whatever team you're following. You get the colors and you know the number and name, but when you talk about baseball jerseys, basketball jerseys, and hockey sweaters, I guess we'll say, they just have so much uniqueness to them, and they say the name and the name on the back, and they can be different. So for me, I won't say a specific player. If I had to, I'd say my dad, but I think the 1970s home jersey of the Texas Rangers, where it says Rangers across it with the kind of capital R and capital S, and then everything's lowercase.
Yes.
In between.
Yes.
I think those are really cool. Obviously, the Rangers will wear those every once in a while. I think 22 was the last year they wore the retro home jerseys from the 70s.
That means something to you, though. That definitely does.
Yeah,
mean
but
I mean,
a fun jersey I have that I literally bought for $5. Yeah, I have two of them. They're Wang Juju, but it's spelled W-A-N-G and number 16. So that's a unique one that there are not many of those number 16 jerseys of the Mavs going around.
Can I give you a couple of quick baseball updates as things are happening?
Before you do that.
Okay.
For me, it would probably be Will Clark, baseball with the Giants, though. With the Giants. Or the black Joe and Neuendijk. I love Joe Neuendijk, and that black jersey was awesome. Yes, Kevin, update me.
So we didn't get a chance to mention this earlier. Devin Williams on his way to the Yankees as they send over Nasty Nestor to the Brewers, and then this is about to happen per John Heyman. The Cubs are going to pick up Kyle Tucker for, it looks like, Paredes and Cam Smith. At least that's the framework of the deal that they're about to make.
Paredes, it's a third baseman. That means the Astros are planning on, and you could see the rumors coming last night, and now this trade, to me, confirms it. They just traded away Kyle Tucker, the Houston Astros. Now, they are getting back a nice package. I'm not saying that they're not getting back good players. But picking up Paredes, who's a third baseman, means they already know they're out of the Alex Bregman bidding. They can't win. They knew they had to get a third baseman. And so in this trade that they trade away Kyle Tucker, they also are getting a third baseman knowing. So they're losing Bregman and Tucker. Now they're getting something back. I don't think they can. They have a horrible farm system.
Yeah.
And they're still a nice team. Don't get me wrong. But I don't think they're nearly as big of a threat. When they have pitchers hurt, and I know they overcame it somewhat last year, they don't really have a lot to overcome adversity. They just don't have the depth in the organization to do it. As you sit right now, the Rangers have more depth in their rotation. I think, they still have Altuve. They still have Yordan Alvarez. Now, Paredes, I always say his name.
Paredes.
He's a really good player. So he's not a bad player. He's a really good player, but Bregman's better. So, I mean, they're getting worse.
Yeah, I like it.
I do too.
Yeah, no, and because, Evaldi said it when he was on with us a few minutes ago. The division's wide open. It's there for the taking. He thinks that they definitely have a chance to take that. It's not it's not one of those divisions that you're terrified of, but you think you can take the top of it pretty easily.
Just as a side note,
hold on to that.
I know they're not going to say we got a whole lot of work to do because we're not very good, but how cool was it to hear Evaldi and Jake Berger? Like, Evaldi felt like he would hear none of it. He was like, hey, look, we just won the World Series the year before that. We got the guys.
Yeah.
And then Jake Berger being like, I woke my family up. I was so pumped. They got guys there that, like, can make this happen.
The World Series, Chris Young, Bochy, I really think gave the franchise, the organization, legitimacy. They're here for the long haul for this thing. It feels like other people look at it, and it's more than, hey, it's a stop on my way to somewhere else. They don't look at it that way anymore. This is a place that I can go to win. And the longer we're like this, the more that becomes reputation. And the more that becomes what actually is part of our character.
Yeah.
I don't want to kill C-Block, but I'll say this if we want to continue. We can.
I love this talk.
Is the Rangers with Ray Davis, Chris Young, Ross Finstermaker. I think that their meetings have to be a little bit different now, my opinion, on what the Astros just did. They sent away Kyle Tucker. They're losing Alex Bregman. They're not replacing guys that they're losing with bigger guys or bringing back guys. Hey, we just talked about the opportunity. Let's shore up this bullpen.
Yeah.
The lineup looks really good on paper. It needs to perform a lot better than it did last year. On paper, it looks really good, adding Berger, bringing your guys back. You got Evaldi back. Your rotation looks solid with depth. Your bullpen isn't right now. As of today, you have no closer and you have no eighth-inning guy. I'm going to put Webb as a seventh-inning guy.
And I know this second part of this is a humongous if. I'm just curious. Let's say in the next 7 days, Kirby Yates gets re-signed and Roki Sasaki is like, yeah, I'm going to Texas. Are you looking at this team being like, well, hell yeah, here we go.
I think
good luck.
We're the favorite in the AL West now.
Yes, I would say they're the favorite.
Oh, okay.
In the American League. They would be right there. I mean, obviously the Yankees just won it, but they lose Soto.
Baltimore's got plenty.
Baltimore's a good team. The Central's interesting. The Central has good depth.
They do.
But you get to the playoffs. Now, Skubal. Skubal's right there right now with the top pitchers in the game. But if you have a healthy DeGrom and you have a healthy Evaldi and you make the playoffs, you are the most dangerous team in the American League because nobody will be able to match, if those two guys are healthy come playoff time, your 1-2 combination.
Yeah, man. And then I guess this is the other question I kind of have about that. Based on what you just pointed out, all the things that have gone down, the trades that have happened, if they did have a plan and they did have an idea of moving on from Nate Lowe, do you think they're sitting back and reassessing that at this moment going, let's hold on to him and focus on bullpen?
Unless, sorry, Mike.
No, go ahead.
Unless
sometimes when you have plans, you do have to kind of go, you know what, maybe I have something like better.
You're right. The only caveat I was going to say, unless there's a team that approached them that said, we have bullpen to offer, but that's who we want.
Gotcha.
So here's what's interesting from Evan Grant. I don't get this rumor unless Nate Lowe is possibly on the move. Why are they interested in Jock Peterson? If you have Evan Carter, you still have Leody Taveras. We can talk about, are we moving him because Evan Carter most likely is moving to center field, and you have Langford and Garcia on the corners, and Jake Berger now is DH first base along with Nate Lowe. And they're like, we need a left-handed bat, and Jock Peterson is the one that Evan Grant's getting decent information. Yes. Where does Peterson fit if he can only hit against righties?
Yeah, I don't know.
He's limited defensively, and you just got Berger. The only way that I see Jock Peterson fitting here and getting the at-bats he needs to be an effective player on this team is if Nate Lowe's not on the team.
Which would make sense, Kevin, if you were going to move and then say we need pitching, and that's how we're going to get that bullpen.
And that's the avenue to get your bullpen. But otherwise, I'm with you. That is a confusing pick. That would be a confusing pickup as well.
I mean, you'd have a lot of depth, but I think Jock Peterson would be upset. If that makes sense, everybody has egos. He feels like he's an everyday player against right-handed pitching. But if I have my 9-man lineup, which we've gone over, and I have Josh Smith and Jock Peterson as my 10th and 11th guys, plus the 12th guy is very important too, and I'll just say Higgy, because he'll be backing up Heim, but we think he's going to play close to 50% of the time. It's tough to get enough at bats, and I get injuries and stuff like that, but it would be tough. Like, if I'm Jock Peterson, I want to play 70% of the games, and I don't know if you picked him up and kept everybody on the team if he could get 70% of the at-bats.
With a KNC masterpiece right here on 105.3 The Fan. We're live at Buffalo Wild Wings in Bedford. Coming up next, so they're staying strong. Coming up next, we've got a loaded high school slate. So besides Cowboys Panthers, what football game are you most looking forward to this weekend? We will do that and Masterpiece of the Week next right here on The Fan.
Uber Eats has Lola V products? I gotta remember that.
Well, you know, they say in order to remember something, you have to forget something else. Okay, now that is a very cute haircut. That's like a little shag. I've never seen it before.
Well, I mean, of course you have. It's the Rachel.
Oh, is that your name?
No, I mean, like, your name.
No, I'm Jen. My name's Jen.
Right, but I just mean, like, this is your haircut.
But that's hair on your head.
I'm not saying this is your hair.
Okay, freak me out a little bit.